And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Censored.
Things You Didn't Know That You Didn't Know, Part 9. 75% of the mass of a human brain is made up of a substance called myelin. And myelin is made up 100% by cholesterol. I'll leave it there. On a separate and completely unrelated subject, Alzheimer's disease is a neurodegenerative brain disease which destroys brain cells. Now, Alzheimer's never existed until 1979, and yet now it is one of the leading causes of death in Western societies. On a separate and completely unrelated subject, margarine was first invented in 1869 because Napoleon wanted a cheaper and longer lasting fat for his armies to travel with. It didn't gain popularity until the Second World War, when butter and other animal fats were scarce. It grew in popularity in the 50s, but by the 70s the animal fats in it had been replaced with vegetable oils, because obviously animal fats contain saturated fat and a lot of cholesterol, so they wanted to offer a lower cholesterol alternative. I'll leave it there. On a separate and completely unrelated subject, margarine is one molecule away from being plastic. Now, as any chemist will tell you, one molecule can make a huge difference to the finished compound. Take ethanol and methanol, for example. One molecule difference, but very, very, very different results when ingested into the human body, right? So I'll leave it there. On a separate and completely unrelated subject, a simple experiment to do at home is to take a slab of butter, a slab of vegetable margarine with no animal fats in, and a slab of plastic, and stick them all outside in your garden and have a look what happens. Very quickly, all the wildlife in the area is going to be attracted to that butter, from the flies and the beetles and the mini beasts, through the birds, the rodents, all the way up to the apex predators, foxes, badgers, bears. If there happens to be no other wildlife around, then bacteria and mold will very, very quickly consume it, because it's easily digestible for all organic life forms. The margarine and the plastic will sit there for weeks. Nothing in nature will touch them. Try it. I'll leave it there. On a separate and completely unrelated subject, I invite all GPs out there to check your patients' medical records and see how many of your dementia and specifically Alzheimer's patients have been on statins and/or low cholesterol diets for many years. I'll be very interested to hear your feedback in the comments, and I'll leave it there. Have a fabulous day.
The more you know. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Censored, broadcasting live from deep behind enemy lines in Azure Blue, Connecticut. Here with my mascot Loki at Castle Sterling on the sound. This is episode 124. We have a virologist issuing a dire warning for humanity. And I'll give you a hint. It's not a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We've got corrupt Judge Marchand using a gag order to cover up his daughter's suspicious activity, which we'll get into. We've got an Iranian general, or Iran vowing revenge after one of their generals was whacked, assassinated by Israel. We've got all kinds of stuff. We got some more information about cholesterol and Alzheimer's, which we'll get into. We're going to jump into nicotine for a minute after that as well. We've got a robot man doing the robot. We've got the truth about why crime is down, allegedly. Matt Gaetz accusing the Democrat Party of buying off and compromising members of Congress to make them quit so they can put in their Democrat Speaker of the House and make legislation to prevent Trump from being on the ballot. We've got Biden flip-flopping, evidence of that more. Baltimore Bridge updates, how the Baltimore Police Department's Marine unit was defunded as part of their defund the police agenda, I think back in 2020, while the ship company owners deny fault in the Key Bridge collapse in the latest federal filing. We are uncovering as well how the Transformers have a day for basically half the year, half of the days of the year, in relation to the whole Easter Transformer Visibility Day takeover declaration proclamation. Some really interesting money about that judge, by the way, Marchand in New York. Actually, sorry, I'm not sure I can't remember what state, with his daughter, the donations that she's been making at interesting timings to Democrat candidates. Trump has also posted his bond. We've got some really good footage of RFK Jr. Dropping bombs and shocking CNN as he states that Biden is more of a threat to democracy than Trump is. Israel strikes Damascus. Now Richard Dawkins is identifying as a cultural Christian, which is interesting. We've got the first confirmed human case of H5N1 bird flu reported in Texas. Possible contact with infected cows. Wonder how that all started. Not suspicious at all. We've got the racist Scottish president being a racist, conquering invader scumbag, and who just hates white people, basically. We'll get into that. We've got Fauci versus the truth. We've got interesting physics stuff to look at, fluid dynamics, Glyvin. We'll get a little bit into that. Where should we start? Let's start right at the beginning of the list with, how about we go to 3Per's quote of the day? This one is from Art Laffer. It is not true that Congress spends money like a drunken sailor. Drunken sailors spend their own money. Congress spends our money. Those bastards! What do you do with a drunken sailor? You put him in the scuppers with a hose pipe on him. So what does that mean? What do you do? What do you do to Congress? You make them walk the plank? You keel haul them? It's got to be worse than the scuppers with a hose pipe. I know that. What the hell's going on here? Okay, let's jump into some more Alzheimer's, cholesterol information over here. We're going to hop over and check out Dr. Joel Wallach, who you may remember being the founder of Youngevity, the supplement company. Remember I showed you the Youngevity that I like to take, the 90 essential vitamins and minerals and trace elements, the, what do they call it? Tangy Tangerine 2.0 multivitamin mineral dietary complex supplement, I believe it is. Unique prepping. What's up, Z-Man? Woo! Good to see you, dude. Hope you're having a kick-ass week. Thanks for joining us. So let's check out this clip of Dr. Joel Wallach. He's also the dude who wrote Dead Doctors Don't Lie. He started off as a veterinarian and figured out all these things that they use in veterinary medicine that also work really well with humans. What do you know? They concentrate on vitamins and things like that in vet health. And type of stuff also works on humans. As we saw recently, John D. Rockefeller, I think it was, had big influence over the transition from holistic medicine into pharmaceuticals and petroleum-based chemical medicine intervention techniques in the early 1900s. So Dr. Joel Wallach, a big proponent of bringing it back to natural type solutions. He said that, for instance, a dozen eggs a day will keep the dementia or Alzheimer's away, maybe even reverse them, because it's all that cholesterol that you need that makes a myelin, the 75% of your brain. So let's check out some more interesting information about cholesterol and Alzheimer's and various foods and things that you can eat to combat that type of thing. This is good stuff here. Dr. Joel Wallach.
Well, Justin, the brain requires all 90 essential nutrients. Like all the other tissues in the body, it's inescapable. It needs all 90 essential nutrients, 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids. If any one of those are missing, you get a disease. And we're talking about things like depression, manic depression, bipolar disease. And bipolar disease, when you're in a uniform, is called PTSD, same disease. And then there's depression, and there's ADD, ADHD, autism, there's psychoses, there's schizophrenia, anxiety attacks, panic attacks. These are all caused by nutritional deficiencies.
That's key, Ed.
Now,
lard.
The big one is Alzheimer's disease.
You want that animal fat, none of the seed oil bullshit.
45 years ago. Today it's the number 4 killer of adults over the age of 65. And it's caused by a deficiency of a single nutrient, cholesterol. Who told people to get on cholesterol-restricted diets? Medical doctors who wanted you to buy Crisco. Okay?
Bastards.
Because they got paid $1.7 million by Procter & Gamble to endorse Crisco. Well, who told people to give up eggs and butter and cream and lard? Medical doctors. Who began to prescribe statin drugs to lower your cholesterol? Medical doctors. And then Alzheimer's appeared.
That inhibits your liver's natural ability to produce cholesterol.
Well, your liver can produce cholesterol, but it's such an infinitesimally small amount. I mean, we're talking about maybe a quarter of a teaspoon a day, and you need maybe a pound of cholesterol a day.
So statin lowering
pound of cholesterol a day.
An effect on it, or?
Oh no, statin lowering drugs slam your cholesterol.
So this guy's got like, this interviewer is not understanding. It's like, so, but the statin drugs don't help it with that. He's like, dude, you got the exact wrong idea. The statin drugs make it worse. They lower your cholesterol, which is the exact opposite of what you want. This whole onset of dementia and Alzheimer's and everything has only begun to occur after the intervention with the human diet and the transition from animal fats to seed oils, which Fleccas has been talking about a lot, and he's changed up his diet recently. And man, look at all the fat that's fallen off of Fleccas in the recent weeks. He's doing a real good job. He's looking fit, man. So yeah, you want that lard. Strangely, you want the lard to be healthy.
Cholesterol down way too low, and this is the cause of Alzheimer's disease. Cholesterol deficiency is the cause of Alzheimer's disease. Now, you have to appreciate that there's other deficiency diseases from cholesterol deficiency too. Low T, low testosterone, ED, erectile dysfunction. Women getting menopause in their 30s and 40s instead of 60s and 70s. And adrenal exhaustion. Why? Because adrenal hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, those 4 major steroid hormones, are all 95% by weight cholesterol. But it's adrenal glands, ovaries, testes, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and adrenal hormones.
Okay,
now, there's other hormones that are not steroid hormones, like pituitary hormones, thyroid hormones.
Yeah, so you don't want none of that garbaggio. Those seed oils will ruin you, apparently. Since we're talking about, things that they say are the opposite of what we say, because lards and all that stuff is bad, right? According to the PhDs. Let's talk a little bit about nicotine too, because they say that nicotine is bad as well. But we have Elliot Overton over here at EO_nutrition with the ultimate nicotine thread. The ultimate thread on nicotine. Huh. A pro-metabolic, anti-inflammatory, performance-enhancing, dopaminergic, neuroprotective powerhouse. Learn how this unique substance supercharges the brain. Tucker Carlson, as you know, swears by nicotine. Husbro out there. You tried this stuff, the Zen? You tried that? He loves the Zen, Tucker. I haven't used it in a while, but might start popping it again after reading this thread. I've only, I've had one can like forever now. Improves focus, cognition, and memory recall. Maximize learning and productivity. Therapeutic nicotine. Yeah, apparently it does all kinds of really good stuff. You'll learn how nicotine can be protective against a variety of health conditions, including Parkinson's, dementia, inflammatory bowel diseases, which is a huge problem across the entire country. Your gut is like your second brain, and we have massive inflammation that's causing all kinds of health problems. Hospital got a Zinachino in the top porch right now. I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty cool. Yeah, there you go, Threeper. Just get a good cigar. That'll do it as well. Sam Duty in the house. What's up, everybody? Thanks, everybody, for being here. So, nicotine does not cause cancer, heart, or lung disease. Not giving legal or medical advice. That's one thing we should probably do, is go to the disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false, like every day is April Fool's Day. And research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. That's right. This is Common Censored. I'm Lord Sterling, and we broadcast Monday through Friday, 6:30-ish p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to use hashtag Common Censored when you share the show on X, where you can find us at _Common Censored. Links to all the content, articles, videos we cover, etc., will be pasted in the description after the episode. So if you are pressed for time and want to maximize the efficiency of your attention, you can hop down there, look at the variety of stuff we cover throughout the show, pick out the timestamps for the articles or videos that you are interested in the topics of, and boom, jump right to them. Thanks again for being here. Think for yourself and smash that like button. Booyah, Grandma. Back to the thread. So, allegedly, nicotine does not cause cancer, heart, or lung disease, prevents death from smoking, Parkinson's disease, weight gain, improves focus, attention, memory, reduces symptoms of Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, schizophrenia, ADHD and autism, Tourette syndrome, epilepsy, narcolepsy, ulcerative colitis, anxiety and depression, autoimmune diseases, all kinds of interesting stuff. Check out this thread and read it in full, because it could be important information. And maybe there's a reason that nicotine has been demonized. Lots of crazy stuff in here. And of course, research for yourself. But there are some good sources and everything scattered throughout here to back the claims that are being made. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy that. Let's jump into our next topic. We got this robot man over here. Take a look at this guy. He does a pretty good robot. As he defies gravity. Just pretty... What do you do if you're walking along and you see some weirdo out in a public place doing the robot? So yeah, you can check out the full video if you want with the link in the description. But we're going to keep on moving. This is from Liz Churchill over here. The Biden regime excluded data from the most violent cities in America by changing the way crime is reported. The Soros-infiltrated cities are not reporting their crime statistics because it's, quote, optional. This includes New York, Chicago, and LA. So when the FBI says crime is down, it's because they're not including the big cities. And when they say gun crime is up, it's because they're because the big cities are, gun crime is so bad. It's only because of the big cities. And yeah. So anyway, let's get into this video here and check out the details. This is from the older millennial period 1 on TikTok.
If you have one of those idiotic liberal friends who try to tell you that the country's safer under Biden, you're going to want to bookmark this video, because I'm going to go ahead and shit all over that. We've seen a ton of liberal creators try to claim that violent crime has gone down since Biden took office. We even had Rolling Stone write an article about it. They claim that murder has gone down 13%. They claim a 6% overall drop in violent crime, and even a 4% drop in property crime. Now, here's the funny thing. If you were to just look at the numbers from Biden's DOJ, it would appear that they're right. Murder and violent crime have declined under Biden. However, there's a very good reason why those numbers have gone down. And that's because 2 years ago, the DOJ changed the way that local police departments report the crimes to the federal government. Whereas that reporting used to be mandatory, now it's optional. And since it's optional, only 44% of all police departments reported all their crimes. Another 24% partially participated, but 32% of all police agencies didn't report anything, to include the LAPD, the NYPD, Miami Police Department, Chicago Police Department, as well as DC and Baltimore. So if you were wondering why the DOJ's numbers don't seem to match up with what we're seeing in reality, it's because they don't. And here's the most embarrassing part. They haven't accounted for a single crime from the LAPD. They haven't accounted for a single crime from the NYPD. They haven't accounted for a single crime from Miami. They haven't accounted for a single crime from Baltimore or DC. And they haven't accounted for a single crime from Chicago. And they
These
still
fucking people, man.
only managed a 13% decline in murder.
It's the same thing they do with everything. They juice the numbers, they goose up the numbers, and change how they count inflation, how they count unemployment. All these numbers, they cook the books and manipulate it, and then present it what they want us to believe, which is a bunch of BS.
And a 6% decline in violent crime. Imagine how much murder and violent crime has to be happening everywhere else. When you remove LA, New York, Baltimore, DC, Chicago, and Miami, the numbers only decline a tiny bit. So no, crime isn't down under Biden. And no, violent crime isn't down under Biden. The only thing that's declined is the amount of cities that they're counting. Because the Biden administration has managed to make 32% of some of the most violent cities in this country not count.
These fucking people, man. It's pure, unadulterated, 100%
100% evil.
Legit. So ridiculous. Everything's a lie. Everything's a front. Everything's a manipulation. I'm not paranoid. I'm not paranoid. It's true. You know, if people are coming to get you, then you're not paranoid. And this is the intentional destruction of the republic. Actually, you know, the republic is long gone, but now they're just trying to bring it all, the whole down, bring it down, all of it, bring the whole thing down, all the remnants of it, so they can create their new world order in the Great Reset. In order to reset it, they need to destroy it, and that's what we're in the process of right now. And part of the process of destroying it is eliminating House control of the House by the GOP, so that they can put in a Democrat leader and get unified control of the government with the House, Senate, and President, so that then they can bar Trump from going into office. That's right, Threeper. The truth would destroy their narrative, which is why it's such a huge deal that Elon Musk got X. We've seen the public perception completely shift. They need a unified front of propaganda to project the information and cultural landscape that they want us to believe exists. And with X, it's like a giant rip in the movie screen, and we can see past the projection that they're trying to show us. It's like Plato's allegory of the cave, you know, where people are in the cave. There are people behind a wall behind them, projecting shadows on the wall and telling them what the world is. And all they know, chained it up in the cave, is the shadows on the wall. One of them escapes, goes out in the real world, and they're like, holy shit, the real world is crazy. This is nuts. All this stuff exists, and we're being told only about these shadows on the wall. And they go back into the cave, and the person is like, dude, guys, forget about the shadows. There's this whole world out here. There's real stuff going on. And the people in the cave are like, psh, you're crazy. We don't believe you. All there is these shadows on the wall. You're nuts. And that's the way I've been the nuts guy for the past 16 years, saying, they're coming they're coming for us. They're coming for our rights. They're going to obliterate us. Unique prepping. This is why we should come together and build communities. I'm pretty much tired of the federal government. That's right. We need to band together and create our own groups of people that we can trust. Husbro89, you talk to people on construction sites, it'll blow your mind the amount of us who want Trump to take over Canada. That's what I've been saying lately. We got to invade Canada. Invade Canada! To actually, for real, liberate a country for once. Usually we're like, oh, we're going to go liberate Iraq, but really we're taking over it. We're going to liberate Libya when Gaddafi's collecting the African countries and gold in Africa to build their own gold-backed currency, where we use liberation or democracy as a complete front for what we're actually doing. So yeah, I propose let's go actually liberate Canada, get rid of the Klaus Schwab cabinet penetrating Justin Trudeau, the Cuban communist bastard. And let's make all of those provinces some nice American states. How about that? If Lord Sterling had actually gotten the title of Lord Sterling from the British House of Commons, after the Scottish courts did give it to him, but that the British House of Lords refused to comply, if he had gotten it, then he would have owned Nova Scotia, and odds are that would have ended up an American state as well. Let's jump over here to Matt Gaetz, who's blaming Democrats for buying off and compromising members of Congress, kind of like how WEF has compromised members of the Canadian government as well. Infiltrated and take over. We penetrate the cabinets. Fucking Schwab, Klaus Schwab. All right, let's come over here and check out what Matt Gaetz is saying. Bribery. Quote, they're actually trying to steal the majority that the American people gave to the Republican Party. That's right. We're seeing all these people step down. We're seeing the Republican Party itself kick out their own champions, like George Santos, who, yes, lied and, theoretically, metaphysically, allegedly, but he was lying for us. They lie to come over here with their rhinos and pretend to be Republicans so they can sabotage us. We had a dude do that for us, and then we kicked him out. Come on, we need everybody on our side. Natron 248. What's up? Oh, yeah. Salute all my deplorables. What's up, man? Good to see ya. That old sheepdog canceled. Sterling canceled. Why am I canceled for saying invade Canada? What can I not say on CommieTube? Oh, all right. Let's check this out.
Okay, let's get right to it. What do you make of what MTG's doing?
D.
You took so much heat when you did it to McCarthy.
Escaped.
But McCarthy was bringing up bills and siding with Democrats and blowing our money like a drunken airman on vacation. I'm not allowed to say sailor anymore because I'm an Air Force guy and the Navy guys get mad at me. So what's different now? Do you think it's a similar situation where Johnson's not listening to the America First folks and the American people and what Marjorie did is right? Or did she jump the gun too quick? What's Matt Gaetz saying?
The fundamental difference is the size of the majority. When I filed the motion to vacate against Kevin McCarthy, we had a 4-seat majority, and I came on this program, I answered your tough questions about that, and I promised the American people that the consequence of my action would not be a Democrat Speaker of the House. I had carefully monitored this. I had talked to each and every member, and I didn't think that would be the case. As I sit here with you today, I could not make the same promise, and thus I cannot support a motion to vacate. I can think of 2 or 3 members of our House majority, some of whom used to be Democrats, who might actually be willing to take a position for themselves in exchange for voting for Hakeem Jeffries for House Speaker. That risk would put on the table another version of Biden's massive spend. I mean, you thought this minibus was bad, and it was, and I voted no. They'll do another American rescue plan that will actually need a rescue from. So I won't be supporting a motion to vacate. I'm trying to help Mike Johnson be the best speaker he can be. He is going to be our speaker now to the election. For all of his flaws, he doesn't lie, which means we can work with him regarding our goals. My goal is to secure our border, not to be spending a bunch of money in Ukraine, not to be borrowing money from China to go and loan it to Ukraine. That seems crazy to me. And while I appreciate the fact that Mike Johnson is trying to find
I feel like I'm on crazy pills.
More nuanced ways to do what he wants to do, there are not enough Russian assets to liquidate to be able to fund what they want. You're talking about maybe a few $100 million in cash liquidatable assets here, whereas it's a $20 billion number they want to send to Ukraine.
Yeah, when he's saying innovations, and I remember all this talk after you moved quickly to vacate Mr. McCarthy, there were these new rules, right?
Right.
Y'all were going to get 72 hours to read all bills. I thought these things were going to be broken down into simple, more line item type voting things, not big omnibus budget deals like this minibus. And I thought we had heard from Johnson early last year when he got this seat that if there was big spending in Ukraine and elsewhere, that those would be individual items. So what is he talking about? We're going to find innovative ways to still fund Ukraine, because this came over the weekend where he sounds more like he's on board with sending millions, possibly billions more. So,
well, about that, we have this breaking story. A vote on Ukraine aid will be held after the Easter recess, according to Speaker Johnson. We don't want that bullshit. Oh man, it's so annoying. The first thing he did when he became speaker too was go to the floor and say, "Oh, now we can finally pass this Israel funding bill that we need to do immediately." It's like, dude, the first thing you did was pass Israel funding. Is it just me, or is that not America first? If the first thing that you do is pass Israel funding, it's not America first, right? So, clown boy over here saying on Easter Sunday, pledging to be an ambassador of hope by voting on military aid for Ukraine, despite opposition led by MTG for approving a government funding package before the holiday recess. If we could use the seized assets of Russian oligarchs to allow the Ukrainians to fight them, that's just pure poetry. But he's putting the bill forward immediately, basically. So super, super annoying. Let's jump back to Matt Gaetz over here.
So what changed in those few months with Mike?
The difference is I don't think he wants to lash these things together like the Senate did. Okay. Now, whether we're considering Ukraine in one vote with Israel or on its own, I'm very likely a no vote, because I think it risks some sort of escalatory accident that could end up melting the globe in some nuclear exchange between the United States and Russia. That risk is too high for me, and I think we have to be pragmatic about that.
Ooh, that sounds good, Zach.
I think that you had Mitch McConnell's desire to use
tune in for that.
all of our sympathy for Israel in this great time of strife to try to muscle Ukraine across the line when there was insufficient support for that. It's disappointing that we have gotten rid of the 72-hour rule to read bills. But you know why we got rid of it?
Dude, it's ridiculous. They just vote for stuff they don't even know what's in them. But yeah, definitely tune into Unique Prepping tomorrow. Zach's going to be doing a Fuck the Government show. Sounds like a fun time.
Dan,
hell yeah.
Because the members wanted to waive it. Like, I put it in the rule book, but members wanted to waive that rule because the people who voted for that trash piece of legislation didn't want the details out to the American people. They didn't want you to know that there was millions of dollars,
in the house.
$15 million that the American taxpayer paid to fund Egypt.
Silver 2614. Holy balls. That is a big deal right there. That is a big deal. First time over $25 in forever. Dow Jones Industrials average $39,170.24. Damn. Silver at 26.14. That's huge. Thanks for the update, Gator. That's big.
Egyptian students going to college in Egypt.
That's right, Husbro.
They didn't want
Gator don't play no shit.
Note that they're funding all these NGOs
when did they
that are
dump
seducing
that
the invasion.
Because like I said, I remember you putting that in as one of the rules.
It's on the books, but any given day in the House of Representatives, if 2/3 of the members stand up and say, we hereby waive the rules,
right,
then it's like martial law. They automatically go away. And 2/3 of the overall membership didn't want 72 hours to read the bill because they didn't want the American people to read the bill. because it wasn't about what the ultimate consequence was for the country. If people got their little pork barrel projects in, if they got their funding in for their community centers or their unique agenda items, then they would forsake the broader consequences that we must all endure.
Best way to buy silver, Natron, is bullion. Start picking up some bars. That way you can get it super cheap. Or junk silver, which is old American coins, 1964 and earlier. Really good. Also, when you're buying like jewelry, you're paying a higher premium per ounce, but it is more valuable because it's like an artistic transformation of the metal itself. So there is justification for the purpose, but you get more and more and more if you buy bullion.
Here's what I've decided. We cannot fix the country with the people we currently have in Washington.
No kidding.
Republican or Democrat. And the reason I'm here in California is I've been traveling all over this country, from Virginia to Utah, out here to California, to try to raise an army of patriots who actually want to go and serve the people. Not the donors, not the foreign interests abroad, but the people of their district and of this country. And if we don't do that, if we don't defeat some incumbents in primaries, if we don't fill these open seats that have been created because folks we've gotten rid of the cushy life in Washington, then we will miss the opportunity to seize the Trump presidency. President Trump is going to lay out a vision, and he's going to have a lot of energy behind that vision, but we can't have the Mitch McConnells and the Paul Ryans
We need a Senate and a House that are America first. And looking at that minibus vote, there was only, 130 of the 134 that actually said no. The rest of the Republicans sided with all the Democrats.
Yeah, that's a good point too, Gator.
Once again, putting us further in debt and kicking the can down the road.
Gold jewelry,
so let's
easy
talk
to cross
about
borders
the
with.
razor-thin majority we have and why it's so important come November to get you and the other America First and Freedom Caucus folks more backup. Because we can't count on the Ken Bucks and these folks that are retiring early and screwing over.
Gold, $2,282, all-time high. Damn. If we get a real market correction, which is virtually inevitable if the BRICS gold-backed currency becomes a big thing, we're going to see like $50,000, $60,000 gold, $80,000 silver per ounce. I don't know. We'll see.
The country. Notice I didn't say party, screwing over we the people. So how are we going to, one, hold on to the majority through next January?
Silver's the way to go.
Because now we're down to one. And let's talk about how we get out and get more of those America
Hell
First
yeah.
folks elected, Matt.
What kind of bike you got?
First things first, preserving this majority when you had people like Kevin McCarthy and Ken Buck and Mike Gallagher walk off the job. 3 people walk off the job in a 4-seat majority. It's tough. Now,
paid them off, Matt.
Well, that's the concern we have with anyone that is leaving at this time. Let me be clear. There is an organized effort by the political left right now to buy people off to quit, and then also to try to compromise people.
Here we go.
I know of circumstances right now where people are being told you should quit or else. Some embarrassing information might come out. We might lie about you and say things that are false. They're actually trying to steal the majority that the people gave to the Republican Party and convert it to the Democratic Party, and they should not have enablers and co-conspirators in our movement willing to facilitate that.
We got rhinos embedded, probably like Mike Johnson, bro. And, they need to lock it down right now. They're going to get a Democrat speaker in there so that they can put legislation out to bar Trump from the 2024 ballot. That's what they're doing. They're buying off people to get them out of the way so that they can switch over the majority to the Democrat side and do something ridiculous. So we gotta really watch out for this. It's going to be a highly dangerous situation.
I think that we've got to be real resilient about that.
Silver's the way to go. And Natron, silver I like also too because I think that it's more depleted in terms of industrial use. It's used for wiring and stuff because it's a really, really top-notch conductor of electricity. So it's used in a lot of wiring and industrial stuff, and the supply is being depleted more rapidly than gold. So when we have an actual price correction, I believe silver will become more expensive than gold in the way that it used to be. Like back in ancient Egypt and stuff, I believe silver was more valuable. So I think that's actually going to happen again. So if you can get silver for cheaper and get more of it for less money now, then when the price is correct and it becomes more valuable than gold, it will have proved to have been a better investment than gold at this point in time right now. So keep that in mind. Not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. Assume everything I say is false and research for yourself.
And we should judge harshly those who leave service to go get some high-paying job, if that in fact turns out to be the case. We all knew what these jobs were. It's not like it's a surprise that when you run, it's a 2-year job. And if you sign up for the military
2008,
and you walk
I started
off,
buying.
that's AWOL. I guess only the Secretary of Defense can get away with that, right?
Yeah, we know that one.
But in Congress, we should similarly view that with great concern. And when it comes to growing the majority,
yes,
then look, we have to get the right candidates in the primaries. I'm tired of hearing
that
somebody's more electable, even though they have milquetoast views and will never fight for the people. We have to have folks who, when they get to Washington, will resist the seduction of the lobbyists and the special interests and the corruption.
And the honeypots. Where you're at a bar, you're at an event, and a beautiful girl shows up. And next thing you know, you're in a hotel room. And next thing you know, somebody's coming up to you the next week saying, hey, you better vote this way. Because if you don't, we got photos of you that are coming out, man. Like Tim Burchett said recently as well to Benny Johnson. This is going on. The honeypot, compromise, bribe, control, manipulate, scam, scheme, defraud, deflect, divert, subvert, and obfuscate, all in the effort to control. Let's jump over to our next story. There's more of this video that you guys can check out. Link will be in the description. After the episode, let's talk, getting dyslexia early today. Let's jump over to our next story and talk about World War III, which is becoming more and more of an imminent danger. Look at these nice Trump 2024 shoes. Oh, I want those gold ones, man. I want that purple stuff. Chappelle fans will remember that. World War III watch. Iran vows revenge after Israel kills top general. Christina Layla writing over here on April 1st. Too bad this isn't an April Fool's joke. Iranian consulate in Syria bombed. That's right. They're bombing Damascus. World War III watch. An Israeli airstrike reportedly killed Iran's senior commander in Damascus, Syria. Mohammad Reza Zahedi, Iran's top general in the Quds force of the IRGC, was killed along with his lieutenant and several other high-ranking officers, according to Reuters. The Iranian consulate was reportedly flattened in the airstrike. Hezbollah, a Lebanese terrorist group that acts as Iran's proxy in Syria and the surrounding region, vowed revenge. This crime will not pass without the enemy receiving punishment and revenge, Hezbollah said. Reuters reported suspected Israeli warplanes bombed Iran's embassy in Syria on Monday. Bomb, 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 Iran, like John McCain said, fuck that motherfucker. In a strike that Iran said killed 7 of its military advisors, including 3 senior commanders, and that marked a major escalation in Israel's war with its regional adversaries. Reuters reported at the site in the Meza district of Damascus saw emergency workers clambering atop rubble of a destroyed building inside the diplomatic compound adjacent to the main Iranian embassy building. Emergency vehicles were parked outside. An Iranian flag hung from a pole by the debris. Let's check out this clip.
Trey Yanks, he's reporting live on the ground in Tel Aviv for us at this hour. Trey, what are you hearing from your sources about this strike?
Sandra, good afternoon. We are learning more about this rare daytime strike in Damascus, Syria, that killed top Iranian general Mohammad Zahedi. Zahedi is the man responsible for weapon shipments from Tehran to Damascus that are ultimately ending up in the hands of Hezbollah and used to target Israeli troops in the northern part of this country. According to initial reports, other members of Iran's IRGC were inside the building at the time of the reported Israeli strike. This is a significant development and one that will have repercussions across the Middle East.
Thanks to our 52 live viewers. Make sure to like, comment, share, smash that like button. It helps bigly. Appreciate it. Let's continue.
We are getting that statement in just now from Iran's ambassador to Syria, Hossein Akbari, who said the Iranian response to this strike will be, quote, swift, direct, and harsh. Zahedi is someone who is seen as a successor to other regional commanders who previously reported to Qasem Soleimani, that top Iranian general who was killed in the 2020 drone strike outside of Baghdad's international airport. He reported most recently to Ismail Khani, the leader of the Quds forces of Iran's IRGC. And the question now is how and if Iran will respond to this strike. They have a variety of options. And remember, Israel has been in direct and sustained conflict with Iranian proxies across the Middle East for the...
You know what I hear some people saying all the time that really pisses me off? Like Ben Shapiro talking about Candace Owens and Matt Walsh. And he's like, well, Matt Walsh is not in favor of funding Israel and has an isolationist approach. And it's like, dude, everybody tries to conflate isolationism with not wanting to fund wars and be involved with interventionist foreign policies, because isolation is a bad idea. No travel, no trade, no cooperation, no friendship with other countries. You're dooming yourself. You need to have a community, right? Unique prepping, and that includes also, cooperating with other groups, and even if that happens to be countries. But people try to conflate non-interventionism with isolationism to paint the position of not wanting to intervene as being a negative thing, which I find to be deceptive and dishonest and disingenuous. And Ben Shapiro's been doing that lately over at the Daily Wire. I just felt like bringing that up because it was annoying. He's like, oh, well, if you don't want to fund Israel, you're isolationist. No, you're non-interventionist. And that's what Dr. Paul made a big point of pointing out back in 2008, 2012. Let's continue.
The past 178 days, overnight, a drone was launched, likely by an Iranian-backed Shia militia in Iraq, targeting the southern city of Eilat. More rocket fire from the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah today, and of course the ongoing war against Hamas and Islamic Jihad inside Gaza. Sandra?
Trey Inks,
what voice did I do
for us there on the ground, Tel Aviv. Thank you, John.
All right, Sandra, let's bring in Michael Allen, former senior director at the National Security Council.
Yeah, right. It's like racist or whatever at this point. Like, everybody's a racist. They're all racist. Fine, we're racist. Yeah, fine, we're homophobic or we're transformer-phobic or whatever. Fine, we're isolationists. Whatever terminology you guys want to slander us with, we'll just take it and flip it against you.
Do you think this was, in fact, Israel? There's been no proof that it is. The Iranians say it was. The Syrians say it was. Israel's not saying anything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Israel. The United States has once or twice gone into this, but that was under previous administration. So I think it's definitely Israel.
All right. So what do you think the upshot
covering
of this is
up
going
KJP
to be?
over here,
killing a senior commander
down in the corner.
Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. I mean, this is reminiscent of when the U.S. took out Soleimani.
Faux
there
news.
was a response against the Al-Assad airbase.
Died like a dog,
it was a brief
Trump said, right?
response, and the only response. What do you think might happen here?
So I think they'll have to hit back
Ben
when you
Shapiro,
have a
thanks,
senior
cowgirl.
Iranian intelligence official that's killed out in the battlefield. He's the chief liaison for Iran's terrorist network. He's the one that deals with Hezbollah, which is Israel's primary threat. So this is why Israel did it. They've got to keep their boot on the neck of their greatest foes, and that's, of course, Hamas and Hezbollah.
So how do you think Iran responds?
I think they'll launch some missiles by way of Hezbollah, probably into northern Israel. They're already doing a lot of that, but I think they'll hit more. I think they'll want something that's more than symbolic, but short of outright declaration of war with Israel, because neither Hezbollah or Iran want that.
There's been a lot of skirmishing across the northern border between Lebanon and Israel, but it's been relatively contained. There are elements inside Israel who are saying now is the time to go after Hezbollah.
Right.
Could this potentially erupt into all-out war
We do not
with Hezbollah
want
again
that.
for the first time since 2006 in a large scale?
It could. This is something we're all watching, which is what kind of scenarios might you have regional escalation? This is just the type of thing that we would look at. I still think the incentives for both parties, though, are not to have an outright war between the two. Iran wants to keep Hezbollah where it is. It wants to.
Oh, we've got breaking news. Breaking news as the White House press secretary KJP has been replaced with an actual gaslight. Whoa, didn't mean for that to play. Good one, Gator. Nice find, man. That's funny as hell. Let's continue over here real quick.
Hamas, send some weapons over, but it wants to keep it there because if Iran ever was bombed by Israel, in other words, to go after their nuclear program, Iran wants Hezbollah there to be able to go back at Israel in that kind of scenario.
And Iran is at risk of losing Hamas, so I assume it doesn't want to lose Hezbollah as well. I want to ask you about this warning from retired General Frank McKenzie, who said that America could be in for an attack by ISIS in light of what happened last week in Moscow. Listen here.
Yeah, if we did the attack, not, I mean, us, but the CIA, as we saw yesterday. That's right, Threeper. Super homophobic, LGBTQ-listic, racist, xenophobic, transmisogystic. Yep. Transamisogystic. That's fucking amazing, bro. Oh my God. If I could do that to the actual, tune of the song, I would totally do it. But I'm not going to do that. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Restrain yourself, Sterling. Okay. Yeah, we don't want that. They're obviously setting us up to be hit here at home with the borders open, with us engaging in foreign conflicts, doing our own attacks in Russia, blaming it on ISIS, and them actually taking the blame for it, but it coming out that we were funding it through Ukraine with like a double proxy, double blind, double false flag type thing, which is pretty insane. But they're setting us up. They want us to get involved so that then they can justify attacks here on the home, the homeland. Yeah, that's a good idea. Threeper, let's kill CommieTube, the feed. FBI's asshole. I'm not talking about actually launching attack on YouTube. Let's kill the YouTube feed, metaphorically. Gasp. KJP is not a troll doll. Oh, man. All right, let's take the link over here for the Rumble feed, put it over in the YouTube and Facebook comments, and let's ditch the lame places. All right, you guys on YouTube, sorry to have to ditch you. Copy and paste that into a new browser page and come join us on the other side where the water is warm and where we all float down and rumble. If you can't make it, it's all good. Sorry to have to ditch you, but we will catch you on the flip side. Until then, let's get ready to rumble!